self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When any form of government becomes destructive at these ends, it is the right of the people to alter it or abolish it and to institute new government. We are the revolution.
Stand up, stand up, stand up. Revolution. We're the revolution.
Hey guys, welcome in. And yeah, you know, it's always funny, but you always have just a little bit of technical difficulties. When you got this much stuff going on, it never fails. You always have some technical difficulties. We're trying something new tonight. We are simulcasting the podcast to my YouTube channel and my Twitch channel simultaneously. When you start doing that kind of thing, you're going to have issues here and there, but that's all right. I think, anyway, that everything is up and running right now. It looks like it. It seems like it is. Everything says that it is. So, in the chat, whether you're watching on YouTube tonight or whether you're watching on Twitch, welcome. Thanks for being here. It's the Steve Freeman Podcast. This is episode 8. It is hard to believe that we've already done this for 8 weeks. And got a lot more stuff planned and coming up throughout the rest of the year. Hope everybody is having a great week so far. We're only 2 days in, but nevertheless, hope that you are having a great week. We were doing the show on Monday nights, but then football season started. So that's why the shift to Tuesday nights. And I know, and I joked about it in some of my social media stuff, but I know that many of you watch This Is Us. I do. I'm not current, though. I've still got like a few episodes in season 2, so I hadn't even started season 3 yet. And I know that it's on right now, but I would hope that a lot of you, can DVR it, or, in the world we live in, Netflix, Hulu, all that kind of stuff. You can have this stuff on demand pretty much any time that you want. So hopefully you are able to be here with us on Tuesday nights during football season. While football season's going on. Then we will probably move everything back to Monday nights after football season is over. But all that said, it looks like everything's rocking, everything's rolling. I kind of want to do freeform tonight. I do have some things that I do want to talk about. I'm hoping that you guys have things that you want to talk about as well. All you have to do is just type in the chat, no matter where you are, where you're watching from. If you're watching from Twitch or YouTube, all you have to do is type in those chat windows, and it pops up right there in front of me, and I'm able to see it. So, guys, you can ask any questions that you want to ask. We can talk about anything that you want to talk about. We can talk music stuff. We can talk gaming stuff. We can talk politics. We can talk. Boy, Lord knows. I have to admit, I was kind of glued for the first time in a long time to like C-SPAN watching the Supreme Court hearings last week. What was it, Thursday, I think it was. And I'm not one generally. I don't like to get into the politics, and it's just not something that I actually really enjoy, because I don't consider myself a Democrat or Republican. So it's like it's hard for me to come down on one side or the other all the time. But it was quite captivating to watch. It was very, very interesting. So, you know, and I don't know, look, a lot of people get fired up over it. That's one of the reasons, y'all, I have found myself, and a lot of my music friends and colleagues, they really don't understand this shift, this thing that I've done in getting so much into gaming and streaming and stuff. And I have to tell you that a big reason, a big purpose for that, when I discovered, you know, starting the YouTube channel and starting to create the online content, and then getting into gaming and Fortnite and PUBG and all that stuff and streaming, is because I do love social media. I do love the ability to connect with people that you wouldn't normally connect with, because I'm not a real social guy. Hey, everybody that knows me personally knows that. I'm not the guy in Nashville. Throughout my entire music career, I don't go out and drink. I don't go out and party. I don't go to a lot of you know, events. I used to go to all the award shows and all that, and I don't do that anymore. It's because I don't want to. But I do enjoy engaging with people. But Facebook, for me, has become just a cesspool of hate. You can't post anything on there without it turning into either political or religious stuff. And it's, people are so one side or the other that I just couldn't do it anymore. And I'm hardly ever on Facebook at all. I use it to post things like this. You know, tonight I posted today, you know, that we were going to be live. The podcast was live tonight on YouTube and Twitch both. And I use it for things like that, but I don't use Facebook like most people use Facebook. I hate to get on the damn thing, if I'm just being completely honest. I just don't like it at all. Instagram is kind of my platform of choice. That's what I enjoy the most. I'm a very visual person, so I get the whole thing with the pictures. You can tell me an entire story with a picture, and I get it. I like seeing how creative people can be with the descriptions. I also like going through and seeing people that try to capture your attention with a picture, and then the description has nothing to do with it whatsoever. Twitter, I'm just now getting into Twitter. It's funny, when we started this podcast, and the YouTube channel overall, and really, and especially Twitch and streaming and doing the gaming stuff and getting into the gaming, I've noticed that a lot of that world uses Twitter a lot. And I logged into my app for the first time a few months back, and you've been a member since 2009, and it's like I have not put any effort into that platform like whatsoever. So I'm trying to get a little bit better about that, but I can't decide, because I have an uncle that's been kicked off Twitter like 5 times. And I think now he's permanently lost his ability to have a Twitter account. But I can't decide which one's worse for political crap. Is it Facebook or Twitter? I don't see a lot of political stuff on Instagram, and maybe that's why I use it a lot. And I just don't like involving my whole life and belief system. I just don't put that stuff out there for the world to see. Maybe I'm different than most people, but I just don't do that. So, but I have needed to give a little bit of an explanation, because a lot of people have seen me posting some things that I'm working on in the gaming world. I am starting a professional esports organization and team that will be based out of Nashville. And it's so funny when I try to explain to people the success that I have been so fortunate to have with writing hit songs and producing platinum-selling albums and writing songs for films and TV shows and things. All of that success has allowed me to find the entrepreneur in myself. I'm a workaholic, so every when I found Twitch and I found streaming and I found gaming and I got into it, my nature is I can't just do that like for enjoyment. I have to turn it into a business. And it excites me so much, and I have found that the community of gamers and streamers, they are just some of the best people on the face of the planet. They care about the people that watch their streams, and it's such an interactive thing that it really captivated my spirit. It's not only something that I'm passionate about, but I enjoy. I get people asking me and sending me messages, am I quitting music? Am I quitting writing songs and producing records? The answer to that question is no. I'll never quit that. But it can't be all that I am. I don't want it to be all that I am. You know, a lot of people don't understand when I work and develop a lot of artists, or I'm writing with new artists and things like that, you know, they think that it's just all about that. But after you've done it for 20 years, it's a job. To me, I don't look as what I do as any more special than you getting up to go work at your electrician job or go work at Best Buy. To me, it's a job. And I have to find things that I'm passionate about to keep it going. So I will be telling you more about the esports company because it's going to take up a huge chunk of my life. I've narrowed things down musically to where I'm developing 2 different artists right now, and between this Texas artist, Morgan Ashley, that I'm working with, and then the pop sister duo, Gilded, from Mississippi, it takes up a lot of time. And because I believe in these artists so much that it takes up so much of my time. Also, another project I'm working on is Born Southern, working with them with their branding and brand ambassadorship and things like that, growing that brand because I believe in it. And if anything, I can encourage any of you guys watching tonight is that's what I want this podcast to be. That's what I want this to be. Is it can be music, it can be anything. I want you guys to be able to come in and share your hopes and your dreams, and hopefully, I want to give you realistic opportunities and options to achieve that success. Because my success that I've achieved in my career has not come traditional. It has not come by way of the way that everybody else says that you're supposed to do it. I found my own way. I was headstrong and determined in doing that, and I still am in every aspect of my life, every aspect of my career, and I encourage that in you. And I want this to be a place where that is welcome, and where you can get answers and advice to problems and real-world issues that you're having, so that hopefully you can be successful as well, and we can just have a ton of fun. I'm here to have fun. I want to have fun. I want you guys to have fun, and that's why I want to leave most of this open forum to where you guys can ask questions, and we can talk about it. We can do whatever you guys want to do. All you have to do, like I said, if you're on Twitch, type it in the chat. It's going to show up for me. Same thing on YouTube. Just type it right there in the chat, and it's going to come straight through to me. Let's see. It looks like we've got some questions coming in. Let's see. It's Innovator off of Twitch music question. At this point, where do you think country music is going? Well, in all honesty, country music is going down the tubes. And in all honesty, country music is gone. It's sad to me because I have an appreciation and a love for country music, because when I was a kid and when I was growing up, I thought what I wanted to do for a living was be a DJ, right? So I did what any 13-year-old kid does, and I marched straight up to the #1 radio station in my hometown, Little Rock, Arkansas, and I asked to see the owner. Well, back in those days, the owners were local, so I actually got back to see the owner. And I started working at a very large radio station at the age of 13. I went on the air at the age of 15. And I did that for close to 15 years. And that was a chapter of my life that I loved. But what got me into it was a love of the music. And when I say that, I graduated high school in 1995. I'm 41. So when I talk about country music, to me, country music is Diamond Rio. Restless Heart, Travis Tritt, Randy Travis, Clint Black, Alan Jackson, Garth Brooks, Tracy Lawrence, Clay Walker. That was who I listened to. Shenandoah. I mean, that is what I consider country music. But I also know that guys that are 10, 15 years older than me, they don't consider that country music. So, you know, country music has always evolved and it's always grown. What I will say, though, is that I don't think there was as much of a leap from Kenny Rogers to Alan Jackson as there has been from Alan Jackson to Florida Georgia Line. And that's what I say and why I say that I think country music is dead, because what we are hearing now, it's an evolution of country music, but it, to me, in my opinion, is not country music. So where is it going? I'm convinced at this point that the labels with country music imprints and the artists themselves that are now predominantly making up the country music format, I don't see them happy until their music is played on pop stations, because ultimately that's what they want. And I get it. There is so much more money in pop music than there is country music. You know, for the most part, a country artist is lucky to sell 1 million albums. A pop artist can sell 5, 10, 15, 20 million. And the audience is bigger. The pool is bigger. The endorsement dollars are bigger. The concert dollars are bigger. Unless you are one of the 5, 10 maybe, that are ultra successful in country music. And when I think about that, I think Tim McGraw is ultra successful from a live standpoint. He even has trouble getting played on the radio these days. Kenny Chesney, same thing, sells out every show he ever plays. Jason Aldean is huge. And I've worked with those guys. I've watched that start from the very beginning to where it is today. You know, you've got Florida Georgia Line, who in this new thing, you know, they sell concert tickets and they sell music. You don't see a lot of females. I've got a video on my YouTube channel about that. You can check that out. It's called The Problem with Female Country Artists or something like that. And if you are a female artist, especially country artist, you want to check that out. And I go through and tell you, you know, why I think that is. But country has never really supported many female artists. I mean, there's never more than 2 or 3 at a given time that are having any kind of success, where you've got 15 to 20, you know, male artists that are having success and taking up a majority of the radio airplay. Now, that being said, something's getting ready to happen that could shake up this whole dynamic. And that is, you've got iHeartRadio is bankrupt. They don't have any money. They owe, and I don't remember the exact figure, but I want to say it was $600 million to a creditor, and they defaulted. They couldn't pay it. So they're going bankrupt. Cumulus is having money problems. I think, coming from the radio background, I grew up and I was in radio, and I was behind a microphone like this whenever there were 3 or 4 country stations in a market, and they all competed with each other. And we came up with interesting contesting, and we used to fight amongst each other to dominate the market. And it created competition. It created radio stations that would play not just the top 20 or the top 30. We would go, okay, to be different than this station over here and offer something different, then we're going to play this independent artist. We're going to play this independent artist. We're going to play, you know, we're going to play this a little bit more rock style country. And anymore, iHeartRadio, Cumulus, CBS, any of those corporately owned broadcasting companies, you can go from one side of the country to the other side of the country, and you're basically hearing the same station. It's simulcast. It's exactly what we're doing tonight. We're on 2 different platforms at the exact same time. And it's basically these corporate broadcasting companies have become satellite radio. That's what they are. You hear Bobby Bones everywhere you go, and I can't stand that guy. I can't stand him. He's from Arkansas. I know the guy. There is nobody. I just can't stand him. I think that guy carries around a mirror just so he can look at it himself, and it all the time because he's his biggest fan. But you hear him everywhere you go. He's simulcast on every different Clear Channel country station, iHeartRadio country station in the morning, no matter where you are. If you're in Dallas, Texas, you're going to hear Bobby Bones. If you're in Little Rock, Arkansas, you're going to hear Bobby Bones. If you're in LA, you're going to hear Bobby Bones. I don't like that. To me, radio was always meant to be local. It was always meant to be talent-driven, music-oriented, and serve the local community. I was with Clear Channel. I was running 3 radio stations in Yuma, Arizona, when Clear Channel started the collective contesting. And I'll never forget it because they took a portion of every radio station that the company owned. They took pieces of our promotions budget to be able to buy all these prizes and give all these giveaways. Then whoever it was that won that national contest, you remember that's when it started, was, call such and such number, 1-800, blah, 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 and your chance to win. Well, whoever would win, the winner may be, Catherine in Piedmont, North Dakota, but she would spend the next day making liners for every other radio station around the country, and she'd say, "Hi, this is Catherine from Yuma, Arizona, and I just won $1,000 and having my bills paid for the next year," making it sound like she was local. I had an issue with that. The funny thing of it is that, and it's a long story coming back around, but that's where the business of country music has gone. And this format, country, is taking a page from the pop book and every other book in the music business, and they are following the dollar. They are following the money. And I can't blame them for that. Do I hate it? I absolutely hate it because I turn on the pop station too, and there's not a lot there that I like. I was listening this past week because I don't even listen to local radio anymore. I've got Sirius XM in every single one of my vehicles, and that's all I listen to, unless I'm listening to like sports radio. Here in Nashville, I'll listen to 104.5 The Zone. I listen to that because I like sports, and I'll listen to that. But that's the only local radio station that I listen to like at all. And I was the other day, I was really for the first time listening to like Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy. That new Maroon 5 song, I think, is one of the best songs I've heard in a long, long, long time, and the title of it is absolutely escaping me. If somebody knows what I'm talking about, type it in chat. Put it in there, because I think that song, I love the production of it. I love the simplicity of it. They let the vocals carry it, and it's just a phenomenal song. But there's also a lot of the stuff that I don't get. I was watching, before we went live tonight, one of the things that I like to do is I love to watch streamers on Twitch. People play games. And a lot of times it's not even a game that I enjoy, but I like watching them. And I stumbled on this one guy's stream, and I would name him, but I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. I guess I could pull it up. I might do that in a second. But I was watching his stream, and while they were playing the game, he and the guys that he was playing with were talking about music. And I found their conversation to be so enlightening to me, to be able to step into the brain of a 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old person. And I have 2 daughters, 11 and 15. My daughter showed me a picture of one of these artists she listens to the other day, and I thought, was that taken like out in the prison yard or something? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Maybe that's the old man in me. But I listen to these kids talk about music because as a music professional, that's what we want to know. We want to know, what do the kids want? Because that's where the money's at these days. Mom and dad aren't spending money on music anymore. That's why we don't have Alan Jacksons, and we don't have Clint Blacks, and we don't have those kind of Shenandoahs. We don't have those because parents aren't spending the money, and their fans are older now. They're my age or older. We don't spend money on music. The kids do, or they stream it, which is now one of the highest forms of revenue for us. So sitting and listening to them talk about what they like and why they like it was so very interesting to me. I enjoyed listening to their conversation more than I can ever tell you, because it showed me a lot of where we have gone wrong. And then they started getting into why they like this and why they don't like that. And I was actually very surprised at the intelligence of why they didn't like. And they got off on this conversation with, yeah, that art, all he cares about is making money to buy Gucci shoes and all that. But they're not, nobody, I'm sitting there listening to these 17, 18, and 19-year-old kids talk about nobody cares about making quality music anymore. That, to me, is very encouraging. Because I have said for a long time that I don't blame the artist. I blame us. I blame the writers, and I blame the producers, and I blame the record labels for putting out a less than quality product. We would rather be first and quickest to market than right. And we are the ones, the pillars, those of us holding this business up are the ones making all the wrong decisions. Then when we have popular artists that have the capability in the fan base to actually put out great content, we stifle that for the next dibs that we can put out. And look, I've written with the guys that wrote that song. I have nothing against Kelsey Ballerini, but nobody's going to remember dibs in 15 years or 20 years. Why, as an artist, would you ever struggle to create something that people aren't going to remember? That's troubling for me. But tonight, listening to those guys and those kids talk about music intellectually while playing a video game, it gave me hope. And I got to be honest with you, I've needed that because I was just talking with my best friend, David Aldo, out in Los Angeles. David and I have written 5 #1 songs together. We were just having a conversation about writing songs or not writing songs and why. You know, I can't walk into a room and write a shitty song. I'm just not going to. I can, but I'm not going to. It's a waste of my time. My time's too valuable. I want to create something amazing, something that will stick in your head and something that hits you right here and that means something to you. And if that's not what we're selling these days, then it makes wanting to do it almost a pain in the ass to do, because you don't want to feel like you're doing it for nothing. And we were talking about that. And I think where we are right now is causing more good people to leave the industry than to stay in it and try to bring about a change. That was a very long answer to your question. But you get me started on something like that, and I can go for hours and hours and hours. Let's see, what do we got? James, hey man, good to see you, James. I see you're watching on YouTube tonight. I'm trying to make it a point to write and play more than being on social media. You know, it's a double-edged sword, because we have to bring attention to what it is that we do. We have to. I don't know how you do that without social media anymore. I think you've got to find the right way to make it work for you. But it's very tough to do. James has another question. Do you think there will be major labels 5 years from now? If not, will the marketing and promotion teams that they use work with the indie artist? Well, they're already doing it, James. They are already doing that. It's kind of a sad situation, really, because here's the problem. Here's where you got to start. If you are an independent artist or you want to be in music, I don't care what genre. If you want to be in pop, rock, rap, reggae, R&B, I've heard some really out there stuff. I don't even know what they call it. If that's what you want to do, here's the problem. With corporate radio and the structure that it is right now, for an artist to be what you want to call famous, we've talked about that before too. I don't believe in fame. I believe in success. When I do anything, I could care less about being famous. I care about the success level of it, because you can achieve fame without having success, and you can achieve success without having fame. But to make it to the mainstream of just about any format of music, you have to have that radio airplay. And to get that radio airplay, you have to be not just played on the radio somewhere. You have to be played in the large and major market stations. Those are your Los Angeles, San Diego, Houston, New York, Miami, Atlanta, Chicago. I'm leaving some out, but there are your larger markets. Think of this. The biggest cities are the largest markets. There you go. New York and Los Angeles, 1 and 2. I think Houston may be number 3. It's been a long time since I've looked at the numbers. Atlanta is probably pretty high up there now. But in order to get played on those radio stations, you have to be signed to a major label to get into rotation on those playlists and have that system, whether it be Nielsen, BDS, or Mediabase, triggered to show that that station is playing your song. You have to be on a major label. They do not, it is a corporate, and this is what, if you're an independent artist, please listen to this, because I have to go over this more and more and more. Every artist I've ever run into thinks they're the exception. You're not. You are not the exception. But listen to this. If you want to achieve that level, and that's what you're shooting for, you are going to have to be on a major label, because those radio stations in those markets are corporately owned, and they have corporate mandates, rules that their program directors are not allowed to play independent artists or independent labels. They cannot do it or they'll lose their job. So no program director around the country is going to risk losing their job so that they can give you a leg up and play your single in Chicago. It's not going to happen. The other thing I want to talk to you about, too, on this same little note, then everybody goes, I want to be the next highway find. I want to get on Sirius XM, the highway. None of those highway, let me state it this way so that it's very clear. Every single one of those highway finds on Sirius XM, they all are either managed by William Morris Endeavor, CAA, APA, ICM, or they already have a major label record deal. They are not plucking people out of Norman, Oklahoma, and all of a sudden putting their song out there and they have a professional staff, a professional team, a $5,000 a month publicist, or a major label deal already. But all of them already have management deals. That's how that works. It's almost like the major labels are using Sirius XM as a kind of like a AAA ball club in baseball. It's almost like the semi-pro level. That's because, see, radio can only play so many artists every hour, right? They've got to fit in commercials every 5, 10, 15 minutes, so they can only play so many songs. Well, labels have more artists than they do songs out there. So they need somewhere that they can send these new artists to try to develop them and get them going to find out if they're worth putting any real money behind. That is a whole deal that it's struck, and it's between Sirius and the record labels and the management companies and the publicists. So, I don't want to discourage any of you guys thinking, well, we too can. It's just very difficult. You have to be persistent. There are certain things and certain bars that you have to meet and criteria that you have to meet to be able to go from one level to the next. And I think it's important that you know what you're facing. Here's the thing that I find it's most hard for new artists to understand. And I do not mean this to any of you if you're watching personally. This is a blanket statement. You are not special. You can't sing any better than anybody I can pick up a rock and throw right now. Talent is not what's holding you back. I hear that all the time. Well, if I'm talented, it doesn't matter. Talent. Listen to the radio, folks, especially those of you that love country music. Listen to the radio. You think talent got them where they are? No, because they don't have any. Very little. I have to say, I admire, and I love Post Malone, but he was on the Jimmy Fallon show, and he made a comment, and I think everybody thought he was joking, but he wasn't. He was dead serious. And you ought to go look this interview up. and play it, because he was talking about, you know, how did he sing so well? And he looks flat at Jimmy Fallon and said, well, that's auto-tune. God bless him. He's not up there trying to sell himself as some huge talent, because singing is not his talent. Writing and melody, that is his talent. Nobody loves to hear Post Malone sing. Nobody's going to show up at a 1,500 seat venue to hear Post Malone sing like a singer would. You show up for the production. You show up for the show. You show up for the creativity of the artist behind the music, because I do believe, unlike a lot of that rap that's out there that I just can't stand, I think he is a genius. I think he's a genius artist. And we are much like a Prince. Okay, Prince was more than a songwriter. He was more than a singer. He was more than an entertainer. When he started calling himself the artist, there's a reason for that, because the guy could do anything. It was about what's in here. Not about what's here. And a lot of artists don't understand that. So know those rules, guys. Do your research, know those rules, and what I don't want to do is for you to have a ton of false hope and thinking that if you're talented and that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. Think about the things that matter. Try to get yourself in the right situation. Those are the things that matter. John Smith Drums, watching on Twitch tonight. He said, it's the real John Smith in LA. Wanted to check you out on Twitch. About to go live myself. You're speaking the truth, and I appreciate it. Man, thanks so much for dropping by, John. I appreciate you stopping in and dropping a note. I was just saying, I have not been to LA in, I guess it's been a couple months now, and I was just telling my wife tonight, it's about time for another trip. I have not been going as much lately as I used to, and I miss it because I do love LA. I love LA a lot. And I believe, John, how's that studio coming? I've been seeing the pictures and stuff. It looks pretty nice. I'm anxious to maybe get out there and check that out one of these next trips when I come out there. Let's see. Ring Roundup Countout says, see, that's one thing I don't get, why it's that groups like the Lax, who have been around for a while, are not played on the radio. Is it because it's not what the record labels in Nashville want? Not really. The label, I mean, the Lax, if I'm not mistaken, the Lax are on Average Joe's. I think. I may be wrong, but I think they're on Average Joe's. Average Joe's has absolutely no political capital whatsoever to get one of their acts on mainstream major market radio. They don't. They never have. They signed Montgomery Gentry and still couldn't do it. To play that game, it cost a lot of money. Look, if you don't remember anything that I say, remember this. This business is a pay-to-play business all around. If you've got enough money, you can make anything happen faster. They've got a lot of, Average Joe's has a lot of money. They don't have that much money. And more importantly, they don't have enough money that buys them the political clout to get one of their artists on mainstream radio. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about, and this is encouraging because, see, used to there were two major things that the record labels had over independent artists. One was radio, the other was distribution. You know, back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, certainly 20 years ago, if you wanted your record in stores, you had to be signed to a major label who had a major distribution deal. That was the only way to get your music into stores. Think about where we are today. I can literally record something right back there behind me, and I can have it on iTunes in 30 minutes. No problem at all. So the distribution walls have completely been torn down. We can now create content, and we can get it up, and we can have it there. then that's when the hard part comes, and that's why everybody wants a record label, because they want the record label to put them in the spotlight, get them on the radio so they become a star. But that also goes back to the comparison that I was talking about earlier about fame and about success. If you want to be famous, number one, that is in nobody's hands. There's not a single individual, there's not a single record label, and there's not a single dollar amount that can make you famous. Now, it can put you on a platform, right? It can put you up here. But the one thing that money can't do, the thing that record labels can't do, the things that publicists can't do, managers can't do, and booking agents can't do. There's only one thing that they really all, when you put them together as a collective, there's really only one thing that they can't do. You know what that is? They can't make people like you. And if you want to chase the fame game, you've got to have a lot of people like you, even for just a little while. Money typically doesn't buy opinions, and political capital doesn't always turn into sway over whether or not somebody likes your product, somebody likes who you are as an artist. Because in this social media world that we live in now, don't be fooled that people like you because of your music. They're not buying your music. They're buying you. So if they like you, you got to think of yourself as a brand, right? If there are brands that I'm loyal to, like whether it's popular or not, I don't care because I don't give a damn about the politics. I like Air Jordan shoes. I like Jordan shoes. I have 20 pair of them in there. I like them. I buy every new pair that comes out because I like the brand. So people tend to be more brand specific. So if you think of yourself as an artist or a songwriter or anything like that, think of yourself as a brand. If you're not involved in music at all, we could take this to the streaming, to gaming, to anything else, to entrepreneurs, to business in general. Think of every product you have as a subproduct of the brand, and you are the brand. Successfully execute the brand, and people will be fans of that brand, and they will buy every product underneath you. Look, Taylor Swift sells a hell of a lot more t-shirts than she does CDs. It's just a fact. You can name any artist that you want to name. Why do you think? Let's go over here. Some of you are watching on Twitch. Let's talk about something that is relatable to Twitch. Why do you think Ninja just came out with, and I can't believe it took him this long. Why do you think he came out with merch? Because he's going to sell it. That's why. It's all about money, and that's okay. I'm tired of people in this business. Well, you're all about the money. It is all about the money, because none of us are doing it for free. None of you guys watching tonight want to do this for free. I'm not going to do it for free because it's my job. It's a living. It's how I provide for my family. So I want to get this thing out that the money side of this is an ugly, dirty thing. It's not. It can be because there's so many bottom feeders that you get to Nashville and everybody's got the damn handout. And that's frustrating. But it is a pay-to-play business. And you got to know that, and you've got to be prepared for that. Ring Roundup says, see, that's the one thing I don't... going back to the lax. Here's the thing. We were talking about, that's going fame-wise. If you are aiming for success, see, the lax are successful. They're not famous. They're not household names. They sell their product hand-to-hand. They have sold product through Walmart. Average Joe's does have a decent distribution deal. Their distribution deal, I believe, it still may be with Selecta Hits out of Memphis. I'm not sure. But they have the ability to get product in stores and, of course, online. But the Lax have a great following. They have a great and engaged fan base. They sell tickets everywhere they play, and they sell a ton of records every time they put one out. You could say the same thing about Colt Ford. Same thing. Colt Ford can't get played on the radio. They tried, believe me. They spent millions of dollars trying to get Colt Ford on the radio. And it ain't going to happen. Doesn't have anything to do with the record labels. But that is a, what's a good word to call it? It's almost a micro niche genre with the country rap. I got to be honest with you. The one person that I look at a lot and that I follow closely because I think he's doing everything right, is Ryan Upchurch. I think that guy is a genius. Do I like his music? Not really. It's not my thing. But that guy did the most important thing that any artist can ever do. He identified who his fan base was, and he personalized himself with them, and he endeared himself and his brand to the people that he knew would like what it is that he has to offer. That's why the guy can put out a country song one week and it gets 2 million views. He can put out a rap song the next week and it gets 2 million views. I guarantee you that Ryan Upchurch has fans that are not fans of country music, and he has fans that are not fans of rap music. I guarantee you. But they are Ryan Upchurch. They are Upchurch fans. It's not about the music. It is not about the rap. It's not about the country. It is about his lifestyle. It's about the fact that he comes from 30 minutes from here in Cheatham County. And he wears that badge proudly. Some people want to call him a redneck. They want to call him all this. He doesn't care. He identifies with people that identify with him. And he has found a way to market himself and achieve success, not fame. Now, one could argue that he is famous within his own fan base, but he has a fan base that financially supports him beyond what most independent artists will ever even come close to knowing. It's turned into viral video after viral video after viral video on YouTube, which has generated lots of money for Upchurch, which he then puts back into his music, back into his video content to deliver back out to his audience. So with your question, it doesn't have to do with the record labels not wanting acts like the Lax. They're not mainstream. So they're not ever going to get that kind of radio airplay. It's just not going to happen. I'm not saying that it shouldn't. That is not my forte. I don't know a lot about that, and I have to be honest. I can't say that I don't have a large appreciation for it, because I do appreciate it, but it's just not my thing. I've been approached many times about producing that style, that kind of stuff. And I can't, and I don't, because I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about it to do it justice. And anything that I really want to take on, it's got to be something that I know in my head beforehand that it's going to turn out exactly the way that I want it to. So, but God bless you. Just hell yeah, Upchurch is a genius. He is. I've never met the guy. I have never met the guy in my life. I've never spoken to him. I commented on one of his videos on YouTube because I just admire the way the guy handles himself. He doesn't take himself too seriously, but he takes his fans seriously. And if you're out there and you're an independent artist, or you're an entrepreneur, or you are a streamer, no matter what you are, don't ever take yourself too seriously, but take the people that you are trying to reach with the utmost sincerity and seriousness that you possibly can. Because ultimately, your success or failure is 100% directly in their hands. Because like I said, you cannot do this by yourself. It's going to take other people. Even the fame thing. Money, major label, major booking agent, major publicist, all that stuff can put you up on a platform. But all that's going to do is put you on the platform. It's not going to make people like you. It's not going to help people endear themselves to you to where they want to invest their hard-earned money, whether it's buying your t-shirt or buying your bumper sticker or your CD or streaming your album. You can't ask people that don't really like you to do a lot for you. So I encourage you all to the page that I would take from Ryan Upchurch is this. First of all, stop looking for who it is that you want to be and find out exactly who you are. Stop trying to become the next this or the next Taylor Swift or the next Sam Hunt or the next Florida Georgia Line. We have those already. We don't need another one. God knows we don't need another one. But stop trying to find out who it is that you want to be and embrace who you are. And the minute that you realize and you find out who you really are, put that on display for everybody. You are not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Ooh, that rhymes. See, I'm a songwriter through and through, and I didn't even plan that. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. You are not going to create something that everybody's going to love or that everybody's going to like. Be true to yourself, and I promise that if you know who you are, like Upchurch, if you know who you are and you embrace that, and then once you are so secure in knowing who you are that you feel comfortable to then go out and put that person out into public, you're going to find the people that like you and you're going to find the people that don't like you. And here's the thing. Stop worrying about the people that don't like you. Stop trying to impress the people that don't like you. Forget them. Right? Forget them. If you walk in and you sit down and you had 10 honest people in a room, whatever it is that you do, whether you stream, whether you own a business, no matter what you do, if you're a songwriter or singer, it doesn't matter. More than likely only, if these 10 people were honest and they were really truthful, at most, only 3 of them are going to actually like what it is that you do. That's it. The other 7 aren't going to like you. So walk away from those experiences and forget the 7. Where most artists go wrong is they forget the 3 people that like what they did because they think, they're on the bandwagon anyway. They like it. Now I got to go get these other 7 people to like what it is I'm doing. Forget those people and go find another 10 people to get in front of. Because by the time you do that twice, you've got 6 fans and 14 people have walked out the door. That number will start to even out the more you do, right? So stop worrying about the 7. Stop walking away from those situations going, I have got to find a way to get these other 7 people on this bandwagon. Forget them. Go to the next set of 10 people and go get your next 3 fans. And then go to the next group of 10 and get your next 3 fans. Because you can't do it without an engaged fan base, and that's anything. Streamers, you know that. Artists, you need to know that. You can't do anything without an engaged fan base. You cannot do this by yourself. You've got to have somebody else lift you up and put you where you want to be. You can't put yourself there. Lord knows I've tried. I've tried real hard. It still requires outside intervention. It still requires outside assistance from people that have no stake in the game other than wanting to support you in what it is that you're doing. That's why no matter in whatever business, whether it's music or anything else, where do you hear most of these entrepreneurs, very successful and wealthy entrepreneurs, where did they start? They started at home. They started with help from friends and immediate family that wanted to see them to succeed. So think about it like this. Think about it as growing your family. You want to be successful? Grow your family. That's what Upchurch has done. Except other than, 5 or 6, 10 people, Upchurch has millions. That's the difference. He uploads a video, they all watch it. He puts out a single, they buy it. He puts out a t-shirt, they buy it. It's no different in anything that's going on right now with on the streaming side and the gaming side with what Ninja's doing or Tim the Tap Man or any of those guys. They're all signing product deals and coming out with merch lines. Why? Because they're counting on their family to financially support them. And the way to do that is to continue to put merchandise out and continue, once you've identified your fan base, then you can put product in front of them. And then you can ask them to do something with it. So with the lax, it's so much of what we talk about is people not understanding that difference between success and fame. That's where you need to start. But when I meet with an artist and I try to decide whether or not I'm going to work with them in a development capacity, and that process, for those of you that don't know, is taking somebody is just starting all the way up to making them successful. That's an artist development process. The record labels used to do it. They don't do it anymore. So, and I'm very picky as to the artists that I take on because it's a lot of time. The very first question that I sit down and I ask them before we talk about their music, talk about their goals, talk about their ambitions, I ask one question: do you want to be successful or famous? Because the answer to that question tells me everything I need to know. And very rarely do I have somebody tell me famous because they know it's the wrong answer. And what has always I have found so funny is that they know it's the wrong answer, but it's exactly what they're chasing. I was telling somebody, I was meeting with an artist a couple weeks back, and I told them, and this is true, today's artists, they would rather have the perception of fame than the reality of success. And that's the truth. We've gotten so wrapped up in this perception, and we think that if the perception is big enough, that the reality will follow. That is not always true, and I would hope and encourage all of you guys to focus more on your reality than the perception. We got anything else? Anybody else want to pop in the chat? If you are watching on Twitch tonight, this is our first night on Twitch. We are simulcasting the podcast to YouTube and on Twitch, and I think it's pretty cool because I'm actually I can see how many of you are on Twitch and how many of you are on YouTube, and I think that's pretty cool. But if you want to ask a question, you've got a comment, you need some advice on something, whatever it is, we've never done this, and I'm almost scared to do it on a live thing because we've never done it. But you can even call into the show. I'm not joking. You can call in. Right there. There's the number. 615-290-5584. You can actually call in. Like I said, we've never done it before, and it frankly kind of scares me to death to think about what possibly could happen. But it's there, and that option is available. If you would like to call into the show, do you want to talk directly to me? You can do that. Or if you're on YouTube or Twitch, either one, just type your question in the chat, and it will pop up right there. Again, if you do want to call into the show, the number is 615-290-5584. I do want to ask you guys as we move into, and like I said earlier, this is now episode number 8. I'd love to hear some topics of what you guys want to talk about. Maybe some questions that you have. Doesn't have to be music related, be about anything that you guys want to talk about. I am in the process of, since things are going to be slowing down in the music business, things, starting at the end of October, everything around here in Nashville shuts down. I mean, nobody takes anything seriously until after the first of the year. So I am putting a lot more thought into the process of what I want to do on the podcast, what I want to do on the show. I've got some really cool special guests that I'm going to be having. I've even got another room over there that I'm going to set up for when we do them, and I have guests that looks really cool. It's almost kind of like the Joe Rogan set. And we'll be moving sometimes over into there for that when we have people. But I'm interested to know what kind of people you guys want to hear from. You want to hear from music people, you want to hear from television and film people, you want to hear from gaming people. The one thing that I don't want to do is I don't want to pigeonhole the podcast into just one thing. I want this to be a free form, a place for you guys to come and share ideas with each other and talk about many different things, because y'all know I have so many interests. It's not even funny. I mean, there are a lot of things that I like. And I like to talk about those things, and I like to involve other people in those things. So if you guys have any ideas whatsoever about topics that you would like to discuss, people that you'd like for me to have on the show, that you could ask questions from or maybe learn something from, I'm going to have somebody on from CSAC pretty soon. Most people would say that I should have ASCAP and BMI on too, but I don't give two shits about either one of them. I was with BMI for 15 years, and I could care less about BMI. ASCAP's not ever really done anything to piss me off, but I'm just not affiliated with them. I'm a CSAC rider. I believe in everything that company stands for. CSAC is the only for-profit performing rights organization, and I like profit. And I just love the people over there. Shannon it has just, even in the last couple of weeks, has just done some things for me that go above and beyond. And I am so appreciative for everything they do for me, they do for my publishing company, and I'm proud of everything that they do on behalf of every writer artist that they represent. So I want to have somebody on to talk about that. James says, TV and film music supervisors. All right, look, let's talk about this for a second. That's a tough one. I will do it. I'll do it. And I know the one that there's really only one that I would have on the show, honestly. And because the others are they will come on and they will give you a line of bullshit. I'm just being real honest with you. I know exactly what they're going to say. And every time I went to this thing out, y'all excuse me to say, I have a Starbucks here and I'm not taking a single drink of it yet. I went to this thing out in Los Angeles a few months ago. I say a few months ago, hell, it may have been a year ago now. And it was a room full, what it was was for songwriters to, it was kind of like a symposium, a consortium, if you will, of writers and producers engaging with a panel of people who, video game creators, like Activision, the Call of Duty people were there, Blizzard was there, all the people, and talk about us writing and producing music for their video games. And I sat there, and I guess that I'm the only pessimist in any room I ever walk in. I don't know. I must be. But I sit up there and I listen to these people talk and answer questions from these people and basically just blow sunshine up their ass for 2 hours. And I was there with the publishing company I was writing for at the time, and I leaned over, the owner of the publishing company was there, and I said, I want to ask a question. And I said, but if I do, it's going to make the publishing company look bad. We're sitting at this table, and it was a very expensive dinner, and they had paid a lot of money for us to be there. And I said, and you know, you're around that table, and it's the white thing, and it's very expensive, and then there's the big table topper that has your publishing company name on it. So I tapped the owner of the company, and I said, I want to ask a question, but if I do, it's going to make the publishing company look bad. I said, I don't care about that, but I know you do. And he said, ask away, which I thought was strange. And after I did, he wished I didn't ask the question. But they finally got around to me, and my question was this. You have described all night of what you're looking for and what you want it to be, what you want it to sound like. And other people have asked questions about what about this, and your answer is continually, yes, of course, we would love to talk with you. We would love to meet with you one-on-one. We would blah, 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 blah. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. I said, can you tell me the last time that you accepted and used or hired an independent songwriter, producer, or publisher? Anybody that was not affiliated with a major record label, when the last time was that you actually used a piece of music from somebody like the people in this room. And they looked at me like I had just put a turd in the punch bowl, because I did, because I knew the answer. I sat up there and they would play these, okay, this is what we're looking for. And they would roll this. Back then it was it Call of Duty? Or it may have been the new Call of Duty. It was one of the new games coming out from Activision. And they would roll the clip. And it was like major artist after major label artist after major label artist after major label artist. And it's like, how in the world are anybody that was in that room? None of those people were signed to major labels. So how in the world, after you just told us that that's where you go, and then, that's where you go first, how does anybody have a shot? But Jay, there are a couple that I think would be worth having on, that I think you could actually get some informative and helpful information from. I will talk to them about coming on, and seeing if it's something they're interested in doing. Music supervisors normally do not like to talk to people, because every time they talk to people, their worst fear comes true, and that is they get asked if they can put their song in a film or a TV show. And I know that's their job, but it would be like if you were an electrician and you worked for a big electric company, and then every time you came home, it's like your neighbor was like, man, can you take a look at this electrical outlet over here? Can you rewire? That's the kind of thing, and I get that. But there are a couple that I think you could get some good information from, that wouldn't mind doing this. And I've got to talk to one of them this week anyway. And I will ask him about that. If for no other reason, I mean, I could tell you the process, but I don't want it to come off that way. I've been very fortunate in that. How I've managed to do it is completely through relationships, which is what this entire business boils down to. It is all about relationships. There is a ton of lesser quality that gets put out, specifically because somebody had a relationship. So, and I know that's what any music supervisor that is being honest and is worth their weight in salt will tell you, that it has a tremendous amount to do with the relationships that you build. Relationships with music supervisors are very difficult to build because they don't like to build relationships. They like to have the list of how many ever people are on it. Maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 20. They like to have a list of people that they know they like to work with. They like to get material from those people. They don't like to deal with the public. They don't want to get onslaught. They don't want 1,000 people a day sending them 57 MP3s, because people do that. But it is a great topic. And I will definitely do that. There's one in particular that I think out in Los Angeles that has done huge movies and television shows and a bunch of other things that I think would be good to have on. And I will ask him and see if he would mind doing that. I'll send him a text tonight. Speaking of, he just landed me another one. In the Hallmark original movie, Love, of Course, debuts on the Hallmark Channel on the 20th of this month. And you can catch a song that I wrote and produced called Catch Me If You Can on the artist Chloe Caroline. it will be featured in that movie, and I believe featured in its entirety. Like, I think they're using the entire 3.5 minutes. I may be wrong about that, but you can hear it. The talented Chloe Caroline, who also makes her acting debut in that film as well. And I've also got another feature film that I'm going to be writing. I think I'm going to write all the songs for it. I will be a part of writing all the songs for it, and I'm going to produce the entire soundtrack for a film that is going to be shot next spring. It's going to be really cool, too. But I love the TV and film stuff. Honest to God, I would do that all the time, honestly, over this writing songs, turning them in, hoping that the creative department takes them out and gets them cut. I'm so over that it's not even funny. It's not even realistic, really. But I love the TV film stuff. Absolutely love it. Ring Roundup says, I've decided to follow a dream I've had since I was little, which was to be a wrestler. I've watched it for a while. I'm now 19, but my thing is I don't know if I should do that or go with MMA. Any advice? Okay. Y'all know that I respond like, I'm going to just say the first thing that came to my mind, because that's honestly, I would lean towards the MMA because it's real. I lean to, and I mean that with absolutely no disrespect. I'm not putting down wrestling at all. There was a time in my adult life that I actually got into wrestling. And I don't mean like getting in the ring. I'm talking about watching it on television. I appreciate the production value. I appreciate the storylines. I appreciate the business. Vince McMahon is a freaking genius of a businessman. There's no, regardless of what you think about the guy, he is a genius, period. But I don't know how, and I have not checked in on wrestling in 15 years. Oh my God, it's been longer than that. In a long time. Like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know who's who. I don't know. I don't know anything about the business of it right now. But it would seem to me that wrestling is kind of being the past, and MMA and more things like that are the future. I gauge that by investment, and I watch the people that I admire as businessmen, and I see where they put their money, and everybody is sinking their money into different versions of MMA. That's what I see. So I think when you collectively look at some of the smartest businessmen on the planet and you see where their money is going, you have it's an insight, you know. I know that it's not always fun to think about things in terms like that, even if you think, I want to be a songwriter, I want to do that. Look at the things that Mark Cuban does, and that Elon Musk does, and that Warren Buffett does. Look at those guys and look at the moves that they make. It's all public. It's all public information. But look at the moves that they make. Look where they put their money. They have access to so much more information than you and I do that it's a precursor. It's almost like a deja vu. You have the opportunity. If you see a very wealthy person investing in a certain area, generally they know something that we don't. And they're generally things worth taking a look at. So I think, streaming, think about this. Why do you think Amazon bought Twitch? Because they saw exactly what's going on right now, in that what was a $1 to $2 billion business last year is going to be a $20 billion business next year. And probably double that in 2020 and beyond. There's no cap on it. You watch what... Here's the thing. You don't have to be a smart person, right? You don't have to be smart at all. You have to be smart enough to watch what other smart people do. I made a lot of money one time, and it happened, and I'm not ashamed to admit this, but I made a lot of money in a casino one time playing roulette. Or not roulette, the craps. I've never played craps in my entire life, but I was on a trip with a professional gambler who that's all he did for a living, and all I did was did exactly what he did, and I made just as much money as he did. Relatively. I mean, he was betting a lot more money than I was betting, but I won. I wasn't doing anything on my own. I wasn't going, okay, here, 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 here. I just followed him because he knew what he was doing. Same thing in anything else. You know, nothing that we want to do in life is rocket science. None of it. It's all been done before. Very little is actually being innovated. Very little is actually being created. There's not very many new things that are going to come along. At the technology age that we live in now, there's not a lot of room for this huge expansion and growth in this next new. I don't think there will be another Apple. I don't think there will be another Google. I don't think there will be another whatever. So I think we're all now searching and trying to modify the technology that exists to open up future. And when you're looking at things like that, look at the people who stand to gain the most and lose the most by investing in certain sectors and doing certain things like that. You can get some cues and learn some things. Hey, I had somebody try to sell me Bitcoin back in 2013 for nothing, and I looked at them like they were an idiot. I wish I'd have done it. Now, that whole thing could collapse tomorrow, but it didn't today. So, you know, be open to taking chances. I always find it funny because my circle is so intertwined with entertainment business people and music people that we oftentimes tend to be the people who won't take a lot of chances. But yet we are in the riskiest business on the face of the planet. You have a better... I told this to an artist once. They said they came to me, they had a lot of money they wanted to spend. A lot of money. An ungodly amount of money. And I told them, you have a better shot of taking every dollar here and going to a casino and bet it all on red. You have a better shot of actually making money and accomplishing what it is that you're wanting to accomplish by going to a casino. It's just because the music business, the entertainment business, being a wrestler, being an MMA, all that stuff, it's a gamble. It's just gambling. The problem is that I think most people are addicted to gambling by nature. So we love the challenge. We love the risk. We love the reward. So we're willing to give everything to have it. And that's a dangerous thing. But I often find that it's funny that those of us who are in the riskiest business on the face of the planet are sometimes the most hesitant to sacrifice and be willing to take chances. I find it funny. Ring Roundup says, yeah, since Amazon decided to raise their employee salary to $15 an hour, which goes into effect the first of the month, which I believe was a good move. You know, I do too. You know, we could get way off into a political thing here. I can appreciate what those people do. I don't know what all of them do, but I know that I appreciate the ones that package and ship all the things that I buy. Because there's nothing more that I love than clicking buy now, the one-click thing, and then it's on my doorstep tomorrow. I definitely think whoever made that happen, whoever made it go from that click to my front door, that guy, that girl, that man, that woman, that senior citizen, whoever it is, deserves to be making at least $15 an hour. Now, the people that are making my tacos at Taco Bell, another story. Although I can't use that example. The Taco Bell here by my house, they've never gotten my order wrong. So I take that back. That location in particular, those people should be making $15 an hour. But I walk into so many places that are customer service oriented, and oddly enough, a lot of them tend to be restaurants and things like that. And it's like, these people have the worst attitudes on the planet. They want to be there even less than you want to be there. And I go, you want it to be federally mandated that you make $15 an hour. You're not worth $1 an hour right now. So I'm a little torn on the old minimum wage thing. I think that ought to come with performance. I'll just put that down there. I don't think anybody ought to just automatically be given anything. Sure, we need to have a minimum. But here's the problem with the minimum wage is that you can't live on $15 an hour either. What's that, $600 a week? I was not good at math. Somebody tell me, chat, tell me if I'm right on the math there. What's that? $15 an hour to 40 hours a week. What is that? You can't live on it. You can't make a car payment. You can't make a house payment, or you can't do any of that. So we can call it a minimum wage, but it's not a livable wage. And companies can't afford to pay. Most companies can't afford to pay the kind of money that it would take to pay their employees better anyway. Guys, anybody have anything else? Any questions? Any comments? Anything maybe for next week that you want to put out there and put on the table right now? I'm all for it. I want to thank you guys for testing this thing out tonight. I'm interested to see the number of people that watched on Twitch and the number of people that watched on YouTube. And it's so funny because it's like almost like two completely different audiences. I have to say, and they hate it when I do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's the truth. I have to say, the more that I am involved with Twitch, the more I love the platform. I like it so much more than YouTube. YouTube is like BMI to me. If you're the number one songwriter in the world, BMI loves you, and they're all about you. Everybody else they don't care about. You can't get anybody on the phone. They don't return emails, and nothing is for you. Twitch, on the other hand, I feel like they really do care about even their small content creators, their small streamers. I think that Twitch wants nothing more than for every person on the platform to be a ninja or a Dr. Disrespect. They want that platform to grow, and they are giving content creators the tools that it's going to take. Again, it's like being an artist or anything else. It is your responsibility as the creator to bring attention to your work. You can't just throw it up there and expect Twitch to go, oh, let's make that guy a star. It doesn't work that way, but they are certainly giving you every tool that you need possible, and they're making it very easy to stream and be online and try to build a community of people. So the YouTube channel grew a lot this month. It was over 150 subscribers just in the last 20 days. I still love the idea of the YouTube platform. As I get more into the gaming and do all that, which, guys, I am like really getting into that. And I think Twitch as a platform has kind of brought me in and drawn me to that. I love the people that I've interacted and supported. I love the people that I like watching. And hopefully, have my own brand that I'm working on in bringing. Both, myself, because I love playing the games too. Don't get me wrong; it's not all about the streaming. I love getting on there with some of the guys that I've been playing with, and just kind of letting everything go, and just focus on playing a game, And again, at 41 years old, sometimes it sounds a little stupid saying that, but it really is a lot of fun, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So, one thing that I wanted to do to build the Twitch platform in my channel was start to simulcast this podcast to YouTube and Twitch, so that no matter which platform you wanted to watch on, you could watch on either one that you wanted to. If you are watching on YouTube, well, I hate it when you do this, but I'm sorry, I'm going to do it anyway. If you are on YouTube and you haven't checked out Twitch, go check out Twitch. If you're on Twitch and you haven't checked out YouTube, which probably you've been under a rock or in a coma, and for that, welcome back. Check it out. See which one you like. See which one that, feels like fits you a little better. But tonight was an experiment. I have to say, up until 20 seconds before we went live on the air tonight, it wouldn't connect to YouTube. Connected to Twitch like that, and didn't connect to YouTube. I actually had to stop everything and then restart everything, and then it finally started working. So this was cool. I love doing these podcasts. I love you guys being so interactive. And I'm looking forward to what we're going to do in the future. Got some big things planned. And I want to be sure and bring you guys the kind of content that you want. So don't ever hesitate to let me know exactly what it is that you'd like to see, what it is you would like to hear, who you'd like to hear from, special guest or topic ideas. Please be interactive, play along. That's the whole idea of this whole thing, because I'm just really, really, really enjoying it, and I really enjoy being able to connect with you guys. So if you're on Twitch, you're watching on Twitch, and you haven't followed the channel, hit that little heart button at the top and give it a follow. And if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell notification next to it so that you're notified every time that we go live. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media. It's at the Steve Freeman everywhere. Nope, it's not up there. Okay, it's at the Steve Freeman on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Feel free to hit me up there anytime you want if you've got an idea or something that you want to talk about maybe in the next podcast. You got a question. I am always up to answer those questions as well. Guys, we've gone about an hour and a half, which was longer. I do see your question. I tell you what, we'll get to this one next time. Question is, what's your thoughts on Nike and everything that's going on there? That is a much larger answer to a question than we have time for tonight. I've got 3/4 of a Starbucks here I've got to get to, and as a smoker, it's about time for a cigarette, folks. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, guys. Thank you. This is week 8. I love growing it. Be sure and tell everybody you know about the podcast. The more people that we bring in, the more people and the bigger this show gets. I can promise you we're going to do some really, really, really cool stuff. We will be back here next Tuesday night, 10/9 Central. Invite everybody you know to come hang out with us. And then the next week, I'm actually going to take a week off. I'm going to be on vacation. But I'm actually going to try to find a way to do the show remotely from the beach. We're going to make it happen. So that'll be the next couple of weeks. And hopefully, that will be able to work out. We won't have any issues, and I'm able to do it from the road, from vacation. But guys, until next week, do me a favor. Keep being creative. Keep pressing the boundaries. And there's nothing wrong with being independent. Guys, see you next week.